Okay. I think we're live.
Yay.
I just want to welcome everybody, and Neshama, thank you so much. I just want to tell everyone who's watching that I don't even know if it's already a few months ago, when Safer at Home started and when COVID-19 came onto the scene, Neshama and I kind of reconnected over Facebook and through emails. And one of the first things Neshama said to me is, I'm here, whatever you need, I'm here. And what I've discovered over the last few months, when you have someone, whether a good friend or someone who's become a good friend, reach out to you in that way, you just don't take it for granted. So I want to thank you so much. I feel like you and I have grown very close over the last few weeks, and I look forward to this conversation and to the many opportunities in the future, friendship, professional, all of the above. So thank you for tonight, and thank you for just being so open and so giving. I know it's who you are, but again, I don't take it for granted.
Oh, I'm gonna cry. and thank you for your mistletoe.
Thank you.
And I read again. And anyone of you out there, if you have not looked at Nicole's gorgeous page, mostly before Shabbat, where she gives just a little bissel, a little taste, awesome. You've been lifting me for a very long time, so I am
Thank
grateful.
you.
And what a gift it is to be your friend.
Thank
Seriously.
you. So Neshama and I had a chance to think about tonight, and we went back and forth a little bit about what the title should be. But I think we both fell in love with the idea that right now, end of June, when so many people will be planning summer vacations or going off to camp, when people right now are still faced with people in the hospital, those who are deeply connected to fighting racial injustice right now, the energy is hard. It's hard. And so you and I discussed what do we want to call this conversation, and what do we want to call the music embedded? And we came up with the idea of heartache and soul solace, that our hearts are heavy right now. Well, go ahead. You look like you want to say.
You came up with it.
No. This was a brainstorming effort.
We came up with a lot of things, but where credit is due, I think that brilliance. It was like I think that was you.
No, that was for sure. Thank you for saying it was brainstorming session. But it's true, our hearts are heavy right now. And I think all of us are searching, and we're looking for something that will, whether it's ease the pain for a moment or ease the pain for longer than that, we're looking, we're seeking right now. And when you and I spoke, we both kind of landed on the idea of how music is often that anchor, and that when we wake up in the morning and we ask those questions, what's this day going to look like? Is it going to look exactly like yesterday? Am I going to feel the same pain as yesterday? How will I feel lifted in the moment? I think you and I both are finding that music, time and time again, has the gift of lifting us in ways we don't even realize, until we're immersed in that song, or immersed in the verses, or immersed in the melody. Yes. And so I'm wondering, for you, you're such a giver. You give of yourself so much, and especially during this time. Can you speak to that a little bit? What lifts you up when you're feeling that kind of heartache? And what kind of music do you feel drives that passion within you to continue on the next day and the next day and the next day, when so many people, including your family, turn to you for direction and turn to you for that pushing up? That's a lot.
Good. I think, first of all, that you see me as a giver is a very deep gift to me. It's a funny thing in my family, because giving is what we were taught to do. giving is also a disease, right? Giving is also an excuse, I think, to feel part of something. And I always watch myself, and I want to be able to give with integrity. I don't want to give because I think I have to, and I don't want to give because I think people will be upset with me if I don't. And so it is a constant, you know. And yet at this moment, the days that I'm not able to sing or connect online, I'm just a little sadder. And I think actually my desire to give and connect, maybe that's how I'm lifting myself, actually, because it's a very lonely time, for some reason. And it's, I talk about this a lot, and I do this work for so many reasons, but to be looking at my own face in the screen is incredibly disconcerting because I am not singing to me. I like to not think about myself when I sing. And in fact, those shows or those days where I'm too focused on myself, I feel are days lost. As a matter of fact, I need to get out of my own way at all times for me to feel like I'm existing in wholeness, actually. When I'm focusing on me, I feel like I'm missing everything. And here I am in Zoom wanting so much to connect, and all I see is me. Well, now I
Wow.
see you. Yay! I can take you. But there's something very strange about it. So on one hand, it's gorgeous, and on the other hand, it's so hard. And maybe that's just where we are right now. On some level, we are more self-aware, more searching, more looking, more feeling. Maybe too many of us have been just cut off from our own feelings. You just go through the day and maybe you're not feeling anything, and now everybody in the world, everyone in the entire world is stopping and having a little abyssal Shabbos, where they have no choice but to look in their own mirror at their own face. And at the same time, oh my God, what a gorgeous thing it is, even when you're in pain, to be able to look at yourself. And so some days I think I told you this, like up and down, up and down. Like some minutes I'm great, and some minutes I'm like, I fall. I feel like there's a million roller coasters. Don't you find that every day
Every
is,
day. Every day.
right? It's like up and down constantly.
I think that's such a fascinating idea that we're constantly looking at ourselves right now. I hadn't thought about that before. On a Shabbat morning, usually Erez and I are in the chapel, and you're right. I try really hard to imagine our congregants sitting around us in the chapel, those who kind of are the regulars. But you're right. We're literally staring at ourselves every single day. But I take to heart what you said, in the sense that if you're staring at yourself, it means you have to stare at the brokenness too. And you have to admit the brokenness. And usually, not too far away is the month of Elul. And, usually we do that kind of, cheshbon hanefesh, the, introspection of the soul. And we always ask people to reach deeper and deeper within. But right now we're right there. You see yourself right there every day. And maybe it's just admitting what you see, giving truth to what you see.
We always learn about the depth of each holiday. Like, every day is Purim, every day is Yom Kippur, every day is, so it's almost like we're existing. Oh my God, that just
I lost you. Okay, no, you're back. You're back.
I flick out. I was on airplane mode. Someone just called me. That's terrible. Okay, if that happens again, you know,
Oh,
how is someone calling me?
that's so funny. Okay, we're okay. We're back. We're back.
We're back. We're back. Um, it's almost like we're living every holiday simultaneously. And yes, every day is Elul. Every day is like we're in that field begging for some spirit to visit us so that we can lift ourselves, so that we can walk into rejuvenation, so we can remember who we're supposed to be. And it's a lot. It really is a lot. And I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful that we're able to have this right now. This is more of a gift to me than it is to you, I promise.
No, right? It's mutual. But I, I think exactly what you just said. Can you sing to that idea of what it means to, restore our soul, and what it means, what piece of your music kind of speaks to that idea, so that, those who are part of our congregation tonight, when they're feeling that kind of pain or the roller coaster of emotions, what's a piece of your music that you think kind of lifts the soul back to where it should be?
So the song that comes to me right away is Elohai Neshama. All the music that I'm singing, the new music that I'm singing these days, was written by Beth Stiles. And I had the joy of collaborating with her. And this song is very special. The night before she and I met in person, we met through our friend Shira Lissick, who the other day I spoke about how Beth and I met. I got very emotional, and Shira was actually on a Zoom and she was texting me at the same time. Oh my God. But Shira is a cantor and a glorious singer and an amazing friend. And she connected me with Beth, and Beth is like an incredible visionary, and she had decided that she was going to be singing with me. We were going to be working together, and I'd never met her. And then before we met, she wrote this song, Elohai Neshama. And she sang it to me the day we met. And it was amazing. I'd never sung my own name, you know?
Wow.
Amazing. And I mean, having the name Neshama, that's been like a gift and a plague my entire life. Starbucks, I'm always Michelle. I don't even bother. I don't know. I can't. I did Nicole for a while. It's like just any in
Yeah.
name, It's funny because when you go for another consonant, you don't even like they'll call you 600 times, you don't even hear. So it has to be something with like an MN. Um, but to sing my own name and to appreciate the value of what my parents, saw in me, great responsibility to hold the name Neshama, and it's a great responsibility for all of us to wake up in the morning and acknowledge that we have a soul, to acknowledge that we are a gift, that every moment is a gift. So this is how we should wake up, in gratitude, and this is Elohai Neshama. And if you know it, you can sing. Neshama berata ata yatsa ata nefakta nefakta bi veta Neshama.
It's just gorgeous. Just so beautiful. And I just kept thinking of the words over and over again. You know, God, you created this, and God, you formed this soul, and you breathed this soul into me. And one of the questions that one of our congregants asked was, you know, when you feel that roller coaster of emotion, how do you deal with it? And I think your song, I hope Shirley, you Kohan today, who asked the question, I hope you felt the answer in Neshama's beautiful voice and in her words, and with what you started with, that every morning, if we exist in gratitude and we realize that we're given this soul that was shaped by our creator, and infused with purpose, I think it gives us the motivation to start anew every single day.
Yes. And also, I think to appreciate what we do have. I think pandemic aside, it's really easy for us as human beings to walk through the world feeling like we've been shafted, wondering why didn't this happen? Or high school, remember that day? It's so easy to look behind us, isn't it true? To look behind us and hold things that we weren't meant to hold in the first place, and to focus behind, or perhaps to have anxiety about the future, but to not be in this moment in the present. And every day, pandemic aside, I believe it is in our best interest to find the reason to get up with joy. And it's something that you choose. You don't wake up in joy. There's so much. Even, I feel like this is an extreme moment, so everything is more amplified. But we are living as human beings in a constant state of sadness, apprehension, regret. It's all of those things. But if you can just breathe in the air, maybe it's the wind that makes you happy. Maybe it's a good cup of coffee. Seriously, I ran out of coffee. Can I say we had 2 days.
That's bad.
Oh my God, you have like your thing and you need it, and then I right. And every few like months, I'm like, yeah, I should really go off coffee. But it's like I'm done with that now. Like, but just even something as simple as that we have something that brings us joy. If you can be there, it makes that roller coaster just a little bit easier to breathe through, I think.
And what I loved that you added to that part of the conversation was, that you want to live up to the name that your parents gave you. And I took that to heart. And I'm wondering if you could speak a little bit more about your childhood, and kind of talk about your musical journey in the sense of, some of those defining moments, that kind of help create the person, the beauty that sits, before us here. We'd love to kind of walk that path with you.
Thank you. So I don't know if I told you this. I am writing a book.
No, I had no idea. No.
I am writing a book, and I decided several days ago that I've been waffling through. We have 5 kids here, so let me preface, like, all my self-deprecation. We have 5 children, and I was telling you before, if you all could see the pile of laundry that's like right there, you guys, I'm so glad you're not seeing it, but I kind of want to share. But it literally is having all of them home and performing and working and everything, and I'm writing this book. And it's like I don't have quiet, and I don't have meditation space, and I don't have and but the last few days I've been determined to write. And I am very much in my childhood right now. And actually, I could cry telling you, it's it's a moment, I think, when you start to really reflect on where you've come from and what you wish for yourself in the name of parents, especially parents who are not here. It's deep stuff. It's really deep stuff. And so I've been a little too immersed, actually. My childhood was very interesting, and I'm seeing the roller coaster of my childhood. I had this really beautiful, normal existence in Toronto, where I grew up. And when I say normal, like, with asterisks sort of all over that word, I went to a very, very Orthodox yeshiva,
Mm.
even though we were not so Orthodox, but a place where women were not valued, a place where we were told, like, very early, like, you're here to have babies and cook and make a good challah, and that's kind of it for you, like, and we were put down. We were very interesting. I've been doing a lot of writing and a lot of thinking about that time in my life. But in terms of having the day, and you go to school and you come home and you do your thing, that was a very normal life. And then I had this wild other life with my father, which was like the life of a rock star almost, and the million hippies that never went home, and they just came over and
Feel like they were just there all the time.
I, I share this story. There was a guy in the Moshav. My father had this crazy hippie commune. I don't even know what it was. And this guy would come over every day talking about coffee, and he would have coffee, and then he would leave with a cup. And I was so mad. I was like, so like we get to a point, where I'm like, I'm like 10 years old. I'm the woman of the house, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
cups, where are cups? And my father was so spiritual. Oh, Gewalt, most probably he needs the cup more than we need the cup. I'm like, we need cups. We
Like,
need cups.
bring back the cup.
I'm the Milton one. My father used to say things like, "Oh, you're so beautiful till you open your mouth." It's
Oh
fun.
God.
Done. I was very young and I was done with them. And so the guy comes back and he's like, obviously been up the whole night, whatever he was doing, and he comes in, he has the cup, and then he starts like kind of. I was like, "Give back the cup!" And up the street. Like that's
What?
not normal.
I
He's running away with my cup.
love
I was
it.
like, tomorrow.
I love it.
Yeah, like my dad had this crazy, like this group of followers. They just, I mean, and everywhere they went, they seemed to multiply, and they never left. And he had this crazy, beautiful, deep, soulful, not to be understood mission to lift the world. And it was, it was interesting to grow up in it. And I'm still figuring out. I know I a little bit veered away from our plan to talk, but my childhood was very interesting, and I'm still recovering, basically.
That might be the theme of many childhoods. I think many people are resonating, with that statement. And so then, I don't know if you still want to go here, but maybe you can think of a piece, that speaks to that moment. That's kind of speak not necessarily to that particular moment of the cup, but it's yeah. But when you think about, as you said, you're immersed in this idea of childhood. It's funny. I don't, you and I did not talk about this, but my Bissell Torah for tomorrow is about how as kids, I'm one of four, and as kids we made a time capsule. I don't know where this time capsule is, but I was 8 years old, and I just couldn't help but think about what I would say to that 8-year-old self. As my 8-year-old self is putting things into the time capsule, what would I be saying to that 8-year-old self about what to expect, or what your childhood would be like? What's high school going to feel like? What kind of trauma will you experience? Um, they're saying my mic might be too low. How's that, everybody? Is that a little bit better?
It's good for me.
Better? It's good for, okay. Anyway, what I say to that is, I had to do some kind of deep searching today to think, what would my, 38-year-old self say to my 8-year-old self? And I don't want to give away too much before tomorrow, but okay. We're doing okay. We're going to speak louder. But the message I'm realizing is that it's not so much needing to know all the details of one's life. I don't even know if somebody would actually want to see the sorrow or the joy that's ahead, but rather just to know that you're going to get through it.
Yes.
Whatever it may be, you're going to get through it. You know, it's going to take one step at a time, but you're going to get through it.
I love that.
We'll see how it goes tomorrow. But I want to, I don't know. I want to hear from you in terms of the music kind of that speaks to that idea. You are, immersed in kind of those childhood feelings, and normal or not, I think we're all struggling with that. But what's a piece that speaks to your soul?
So I think as we were not planning to share this one, but I think this is an awesome one to share. This is actually a song that Beth and I, and actually her partner Trisha, her ex-partner, we wrote, called Shine. And it's the message to my children. And no one ever said it to me, but I wish, maybe I wish they had. Are you guys hearing me okay? Because I have my microphone really elevated and I can bring it down a little bit lower. Is everything
I
okay?
hear you perfectly, but it says now is better.
Better. I know. You have no way of knowing what anyone's thinking
No.
on Zoom.
No. And what about the Facebook world? Maybe you guys can let us know if everybody can hear okay. And if you can't, we'll try to adapt.
We have, like, my setup is like I have all these risers, and it's like, is the microphone here or here or here? It's kind of.
It says so far so good. Okay, good.
Okay, good. So this is Shine, and it really is the blessing to my children and to our world that we kind of get past it all and that we shine. That we feel the universe shining down upon us. Because when you feel the light of the universe, there's really nothing that you can't do. And the light of your universe is really just a reflection of your own spirit, and the reflection in every other spirit that is blessed to be near you as you walk the world. And together it's the light of God, and that's it. And if you can love yourself and love each other and see the light in the world. So this is a song that I so miss working with Pastor Milton Van and my choir, but you can hear them on this one, and that makes me happy too. May our days be brighter, may we rise above, may we hold each other with dignity and love. May our words reflect you, and may our voices climb. May the heavens hear us, may your light shine, and shine on me, and on all who need. Shine it on me, Lord, and I will receive. Shine on me. It's the air I breathe, oh Lord, shine on me. May we make whole the broken, regaining peace and pride. And may we treasure all our children and the preciousness of life. May we transcend the darkness and reach for the divine. Please hear us, may your light shine, and shine on me, and on all who need. Shine it on me, Lord, and I will receive. Shine on me. It's the air I breathe, oh Lord, shine on me. Through So shine on me. I'm on all you need. Shine it on me, Lord. And I will receive. Shine on me. It's the air I breathe. Oh Lord, shine on me. Oh Lord, shine on me. Shine on me. Shine on me.
It's beautiful. So beautiful.
Oh my God. I'm so emotional today. It must be you.
So, um, I couldn't help but think when you were singing, Shine on Me, that sometimes, at whichever point someone is in their life, um, someone might think to themselves, I just wish I could get the spotlight a little bit more, or why isn't the light shining on me? And, or that person gets a little bit more light, God, can you see me at all? And I was just thinking that, I often hear that from people, that person gets their chance. When's it going to be my chance? So anyway, and I know the purpose of that song was kind of the opposite. It's asking, for your inner light to be reflected out into the world, and for that to be, what shines on us. But anyway, just a little commentary.
I think about music. It's where you are in your heart, and that's the way you read the lyrics. I love that so much. And I think that people who are waiting for their moment, I think my feeling when I hear that is like you haven't woken up to your own depth
Mm,
yet. Because getting it from the outside is like, okay, that's sweet.
right.
As someone who has wished that the spotlight would go away, like most days of my life,
Wow.
I needed my own awakening. My light went on when I had quiet, when I wasn't hearing it from anyone else, when I don't need that. I don't need people to tell me who I am anymore. And I don't know, I think people who are waiting for that, you should love yourself so much this just right now. Wake up every morning and write letters to yourself and just literally lists of reasons why you are the best, because you are, and don't look for the spotlight from any other space but within your own heart, because it's not all that. Actually, it's really
No, it's
not.
not. So maybe you can speak to that a little bit more. You and I, we had a heart to heart about what it is like for you as a singer, as an artist whose journey is so interwoven with the music and journey of your father. And maybe you can speak a little bit to that, and also that same language that you just used. At what point, if you can remember or think about, at what point did you feel like you woke up to the depth of yourself?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I literally only began to see me a few years ago. I think it took my entire life, and into my 40s to to know that I was okay. Um, and with my father, we spoke about this yesterday. That yes, he had this career, and he had this massive impact, for good and sometimes not so good, apparently. And I carried him with a lot of love for a long time, for many reasons. Most of all, I was afraid to mourn him, and I didn't know who I would be without him. And so my holding him so tightly was not for his limelight. It was for those soft moments that I still miss so terribly, where it was just the two of us. And I sang his songs and I held him like that because I couldn't bear to let him go. I couldn't. And I didn't exist well, thinking that he was gone. Um, and I think that the people in the world who have seen me as an appendage or seen me wrapped within him, even in from the other world, because he's not here. I think I created that too. I think I held him so tightly because I couldn't bear that he was gone.
Mm.
And it was just this moment right now where I decided that I was ready to look at him objectively and to let him rest. It was in that time that I mourned him for the first time. I think it's really hard for someone to be gone for over 25 years and not really mourn them. I had a lot of mourning to do, and I did it in silence because there was no music around me at that time. And when I did that, I woke up and I was me, and that was okay. And he was still around, but maybe just a little bit farther away. And that was a really big gift. And I think being able to face the pain. Actually, I had a really fascinating, powerful conversation with someone who actually lives in LA yesterday, who was with my father the final week of his life. And I had never spoken to him. He was apparently at my father's funeral 25 years ago, and I saw nothing at my. I don't think I was there, even though I
Yeah.
was there. He had several funerals, by the way, because one was not bad enough. So, at all the gatherings, I wasn't there at any of them. Um, and he spoke to me about my father's sadness, and he spoke to me about my father's desperation and how ill he felt. And I had been traveling with my father for 10 months, and this last trip that he took was the first time I was not with him for many reasons. And I was filled with such sadness, and I felt it all over again just yesterday. And then I was so proud of me because I heard my therapist's voice, and we all need that therapist voice. He said, when that wave of pain comes, when it comes, we start to paddle in the other direction. We think we're going to drown and we're not going to make it, and just be in it. Just close your eyes and be in it. And I sat there. I said, okay, I'm having a moment. I said it to myself, I'm having a moment. This really sucks. He's still dead. And
Yeah. God.
breathe. And I feel very proud of myself because a moment like that, even 5 years ago, would have put me out for a month.
Mm.
Feeling, remembering that dark moment where he was here but leaving, and how sad I was, and how much I couldn't live without him, and I can't believe I couldn't be there, and blah, blah, blah. And so I began to see myself when I began to accept the fact that pain was okay, and pain is my friend. And pain is sometimes the gas in the engine for us to move from point A to point B. And if you can be in it, to quote my very brilliant therapist, and just breathe, the wave will pass, and you'll find yourself in calm, still waters again, where you can reflect on how great you were at surviving. So, yeah, I see myself like I'm in it. I'm in and out. It really it took a lot out of me, that conversation, and I'm happy to share it with you. I hope that my reflection gives strength to somebody out there.
I pray it does as well. And as I hear you speak, I often think, when people are grieving, often they look at grief as the enemy. Not wanting, as you said, not wanting to feel or be immersed in that wave, and understanding that to be in grief, it's not necessarily that you're waiting for it to be over. Grief may be never ending. It's kind of learning how to live with grief. And I really do think that you sharing those pieces of your story, it certainly allows others to be vulnerable and share pieces of theirs. So I'm curious, in terms of your music, and whether or not there's pieces that you want to, bring into this conversation, weaving in your dad's spirit with your own, or are there pieces in which speak to that moment in which you did feel like you found the depth of your soul, that the depth of your soul was revealed, or the depth of who you are kind of was revealed to the world? What piece speaks to you now? That's a wide range, I know.
Now you make me think. You're good. So I'd love your input. So I have the
Sidebar, everybody. Okay.
So on one hand, there's a song that I wrote for my father 2 days after he died. Sorry, 2 years after he died, and it was a very deep thing for me saying goodbye. So it was a saying goodbye song. I also have a song. It's a new one about this moment where I'm reflecting into Tehillim about inner strength and empowerment. So where do you think we should go?
Well, why can't we do both? Can we do both? Is that okay? Do we have time to do both? I think so.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah. So okay. So let's stay.
How can we not hear the song that you wrote about your father? I mean, how can we not hear that? We have to hear that. And I want to hear about the song that lifts you up and lifts others up. So
Okay. Yay. So this is Before You Go, and I had to be convinced that I was a songwriter. I was sure that I was just a substitute for him, and my father was the ultimate songwriter, and so what could I possibly have to add? Actually, I was only here because he wasn't. That was my inner dialogue. It was very harmful for a very long time, very sad for me. And then the day came. It was like around one of his yortzeit. I think it was his second yortzeit, the year of his passing, and I realized, I don't think I actually did it, but it was like, before you go, I bless your soul. Before you go, bless my soul, because I'm in this place. But as I reflect on what that is, it's like no one ever wants to say goodbye. Nobody. And wishing there was a way that we could grow and proceed in life without saying goodbye, and knowing all the grief that our world is in right now. This song becomes more layered to me with each passing day, actually. But I'm very excited about this track because my producer of 15 years, David Morgan, who I worked with, who produced all my albums, he created this for us, this gorgeous piano track. So, Before You Go. Dark is brighter than the silent moon. The empty hole that is my soul only grows, and every day I cry and pray for peace and bliss within. And I long so much for the time way back when your smile was all it took to set my spirit free. I saw the heavens in your eyes. It was bittersweet inside of me. Before you go, please bless my soul. So much for the time way back when your smile was all it took soul. No regrets, no turning back this time. At least once I held you. I wouldn't trade all my broken tears for a life without your eyes. Before you go, I bless your soul. Your smile was all too to set my spirit free. I saw the heavens in your eyes. It was bittersweet inside of me. Before you go, please bless my soul. Before you go, I bless your soul. Before you go.
I know you're going to sing your next piece, but I'm getting a chance to look at some of the comments on Facebook and YouTube, and you're just such a gift. Thank you for revealing these crevices of your soul with us. And you're also just giving us such a deep reminder that for those we love, let them know. Let them know how much we love them in this lifetime, and those who have departed this world know that they're still listening. And I believe that they're still listening, and that the souls of the departed can very much hear the blessing that they often seek to hear. And so just know that you're giving us such a gift. And I don't mean for any of this to cause you tears. Just know that your love is so palpable and truly moving to those who are watching right now.
I think it's a gift to me to be able to express, all those things that you put in a drawer and you wish didn't exist, and all the various closets that we hide in. I had many closets for a long time, just from myself, that I wasn't being real with me, and I so wanted to give the world something of worth through my music, and I think I did, but I think mostly what I was able to give was a sense of grief. I think that people related to me through grief, which I think is a gift. But as I reflect, it's sort of like the one emotion that I was able to feel. I didn't know how to be happy. I was so stuck in it. I didn't know how to come out. And ironically, it was the allegations brought against my father after his death that made me wake up, knowing that I couldn't carry him anymore, because there are people in the world who say that they hurt him, that he hurt them. And I believe people's pain, and I believe that I'm in this world to help people heal, especially my holy sisters. And being someone who has survived on many levels in my own life, I put him down to stand with my sisters. And it was the most painful and the most glorious of gifts. Because if my father was here, I would tell him that I don't hold that close to me, and I would tell him that he was wrong. And that was the very thing that hurt the most. And I think the very gift that brought me to myself, because I realized I was me and not him. And that was a good thing.
You're a brave, courageous woman. And I thank you for sharing that piece of your story with us. And I'm curious, you just said you wanted to sing a song about empowerment. Did that song come out of that, spirit that you just mentioned, out of that piece of your life, or where did that song of empowerment come from?
All of the new songs that I'm singing there that are not his now. There was a very big line drawn between everything I did first and this moment. And all of these new songs were created from this moment of deep searching and joy. Because it was like I crashed out of all the things that were holding me down, and I had no idea the joy that was waiting for me when I accepted me. So this song is actually very powerful for us. It's my beautiful business partner, Jackie Tepper, and I, we hold this song in a very deep way. It's called Don't Let Me Go. And it's a Tehillim, a psalm that our holy brother, King David, also a flawed, glorious human, as you know, as we all are, flawed and glorious. There was a time in his life where he felt disconnected from his own prophecy, and in that moment he wrote the words Lev Tahor, like giving God his resume. You created me from your image. I have a good heart. I have all of these great things. Al tashlicheni milfanecha. Don't send me from you. And don't remove your holiness from me. And when I asked my husband, Menachem Creditor, who is, Inspiration Incarnate, I asked him, I'm hardly objective, but he was my rabbi first, I will say that. So it was a long time of my being inspired by Menachem. I asked him, how do we translate this beautiful tefillah? And Menachem said, don't let me go.
Mm.
It was so profound because when you're praying that God doesn't drop you, that you don't lose the life that you stand in, we can fall apart, we can cry, we can beg, we can make ourselves small. But I suggest that in those moments where we feel like the light is slipping from under us, it's because we are meant to turn it on from inside. And it is in that very moment that we find our greatest light and our greatest purpose. And then we can scream to the heavens, don't let me go. Because it's not up to God. I'm sorry. Like, God has say, but, you know, we are created here to have a say too. And I believe that holy chutzpah is in order. So don't
So
let me go.
scream to the heavens. I love it. Go for it.
That's it. Lev Thanks, Nicole.
Now I was thinking,
Oh, you're muted, baby.
can you hear me? Better? Better? Okay. As you were singing, I just kept thinking, what's the message people need to hear right now? What's that message that will help them lay their heads down on their pillows and help them wake up to the next day? And you're just giving everyone so much hope. It's a reminder, God, don't let us go looking inward to ourselves. Don't let ourselves lose who we are in the entirety of this moment. And because you're such a vision of hope during this time, I know that I said this at the beginning, I look to you as a vision of hope during this time. What's a final song? A final song and a final message of hope that those who are watching now and those who will watch later can use as right from the beginning of this, our conversation. Use that song and use your voice and words and message as an anchor to really ground us, whether we're immersed in sorrow or grief, whether we're on that roller coaster of emotions and we're not sure what's happening next. Where's the point of peace and the point of hope that we can turn to when we need a little bit of music to lift our souls?
Yes. I need it too. We all need it. There's so many messages and so many reasons for us to be filled with hope. It's unbelievable. Just sitting, I live in New York. The birds are singing nonstop. They sing all night. The birds are like partying and singing.
It's happening in LA too.
No, it's like I feel like I used to hear birds in the day. I don't remember ever hearing the birds so joyous in the darkness, even when, people are supposed to be, I don't know, wondering, doubting, animals too. The birds are singing, the dolphins are swimming, the earth is cleaning itself, and our children have the ability to look at this moment and learn something. And we have a moment to stop and understand what a real Shabbat could look like when we just focus inward. And I think in this moment when the world is also burning on every possible level, and I don't have, I have a lot of hope and I have a lot of grief about what is happening in our world with all of our brothers and sisters. I believe that our greatest hope and lift will come when we scream amen to each other's prayers. And nothing less. It doesn't matter what everyone else is praying for. It doesn't matter where they come from. It doesn't matter where you think you should analyze if their prayer is appropriate. Like, no, it's amen. Amen and nothing less. Amen, and may we be strong, may we be whole. And togetherness, oneness, one voice. The small smile that you give someone even from underneath your mask comes through. The light comes through your eyes. So don't stop smiling. Don't stop wearing the mask, but don't stop smiling. And just say amen. And just begin to believe that we know less than we think. And maybe it's just about showing up and saying amen. What do you think, Nicole?
I say amen to that. I love it.
This is Hear Our Prayer.
I love it.
A final love song. And this is for you, Nicole, because I adore you.
Thank you.
May we be blessed. Oh, hear our prayer. May we be known. May we be heard. Please hear our prayer. Ooh, 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 ooh. Let us say amen. May we be blessed. May we be blessed. Please hear our prayer. May we be known. May we be heard. Please hear our prayer. May the source of life, who bless the ones before us, heal us now. Bring us healing light to shine upon us. Oh, heal us now. This is your part. Let us say amen. 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 Gotta sing it. Let us say amen. 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 Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. May the source of life, who bless the ones before us, heal us now. Bring us healing light to shine upon us. Oh, heal us now. Let us say amen. Amen. Let me hear you. Amen. 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 Na 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 Amen. 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 Oh, amen. 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 Hear our prayer. Hear our prayer. Please hear our prayer. Hear our prayer. Hear our prayer. Amen. 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 Let us say amen.
Amen. I just want to conclude tonight by revisiting the idea that so many of us exist in that heartache right now, and so many of us are searching for a little bit of solace or a little bit of balm for the soul. And you eased our souls tonight, Neshama. That's who you are. You just not just eased our souls, you lifted us up. And so my prayer is that as you were singing, I was curious for those who are watching what their prayer is. And so I pray that they hear your voice speaking to them, knowing that someone is saying amen to their deepest questions and vulnerabilities and insecurities and wants and needs. It's your amen that I think lifts us up tonight. So thank you so, so much.
You humble me. You humble me. Thank you.
I hope this is the start of many, many times together.
Anytime and all the time, and friends out there, amen. Get out into the sunshine. and be happy. Choose joy. Choose believing and say amen and sing something. Doesn't matter, whatever the song is, just sing. Sing to the wind, sing to the rain, sing to the people you love who are not here, sing to the people who you need to forgive. Sing something and scream it, and don't let yourself go. And I love you all very much.
We love you. Amen to that. Thanks, Neshama, and good night, everybody.